Yeah, but so for everyone that's joining, we're kind of just bantering for a few minutes, so I'll refresh that in a couple minutes. But the idea on those autoresponders is always looking for the open, the play, setting the kind of tone and expectations of how you're going to work with that person, and ideally getting a question answered. So I really want to frame that for everybody in that it's not this, one style type of thing you got to do. The point is you create the experience you want them to have in that moment. And sometimes what we need is for us to kind of think about the experience that homeowner or buyer just had and take them right back through it, just to refresh how they just came in and clicked on that particular ad, the map ad, right? For example, if you start with the screen recording and you're just narrating the experience they just had and walking them through how you're about to help them, I think in that moment, that's a pretty powerful thought process. And what I was trying to tell everybody is this, there's no one way to do this. Like if you use screen recording, you can take yourself out of it and just be a voiceover, or you can stay in the little corner of that screen recording and just be like talking about it. But I like the thought of it because it makes it all about them. It's not about you and me and look at me, I'm gonna help you, like this, it's all about them and getting back to the experience they just had and working through what you want them to kind of start talking about with their home to start to work on that particular value. So, I think there's a good opportunity here for some of you to start using the BombBomb screen recording more effectively, even in your autoresponders, to walk them through that particular process, especially when you're using systems like HomeBot, right? You don't want to go after the HomeBot report and just, go into this 4-minute long autoresponder. I think the key is just highlight what they're about to receive and really going after the tune my value part of it, because that's how you really want to encourage them to do it on that side. But that's a lot. We'll discuss more of that, but I just wanted to kind of get your guys thinking on that autoresponder. It doesn't always have to be the cookie cutter generic video. And I think it all started kind of going that way when you look the way Stephen Dreyer did it in the Insider Group in that video example. Doing a mobile, pulling out your phone is almost more authentic than anything you could ever do. Like, it's not about having the right lighting. It's not about, being perfect. And, some of you, if you look at your background right now, you'd be like, maybe that's not the background I need to use anyways. It doesn't really do much for you, right? So you got to think about, if you don't have that ideal environment, do something like you saw in the Insider Group, get outside your house or go and get in front of one of your listings and have fun with it, right? Have fun with it, be creative with it. Just a thought.
Marcus, I've been working on something because I've been going to Logan's custom ads class, and one of the things you talk about screen share, I'm trying to do a video ad that kind of shows, would you be interested in a home valuation like this? The caption would be, not sure what the internet thinks your house is worth. See how we detail it and show a screen recording, like a little snippet of the screen recording. That's something I've been working on to try to see if I could launch, and it's just, and it's right along the same lines of what you're talking about, just kind of show them what they're going to get.
Yeah. No, that's a good idea. Logan, Ira, Troy, I think I told Troy already, I can't make you guys co-hosts with this for some reason. So we all came to the conclusion, if something crazy happens, I'm just going to immediately go to delete the meeting and everybody just joins back in.
Just go to there's that mute all. That's why I was going to be co-host. If you look in the hit participants, if you're the host, look at the bottom and there should be a mute all button. That's what we were playing with.
Participants.
Yeah, hit participants and look over at the bottom right, and there's a mute all button. And you should be the only one. Whoever's the host then should be the only one able to talk.
I see it. I see it. Cool. There you go. If that happens, everyone's being muted.
It's not going to happen this time.
Except for me.
Yeah.
And I'll go ninja on these guys. Okay. All right. Anybody have some wins before we kind of get going in this meeting? I know this is kind of where everybody kind of starts slowly getting on. So anybody have some wins they'd like to share, or, some fun experiences? It doesn't have to be like this always, like, I got this listing appointment. I just, fun interactions. It's always nice. Yeah, go ahead. Go for it. Hi, Diana.
Hi. So I followed the example that was given a couple of weeks ago on what to do with those address only folks. And I went ahead and I started, doing the letters.
Yeah.
With, you ask for this and I give them a regular CMA. I kind of highlight some points, and then a letter saying, hey, there's a good market, just let me know if you have any questions. And I sent about 30 of those out, and I got a listing appointment. So I went to their home, and I'm like, well, and they're like, how did you? I'm like, well, you just gave me your address. And it's like, oh, why didn't you call us? You didn't give me a phone number. You didn't give me an email address. Nothing. And they're like, we thought we did. I'm like, no. So
That's so cool, right? Address only.
yeah,
So you got the listing appointment, and how'd that go?
I got it.
Oh, and so now it's listed.
It's listed.
And so there you go. What type of home is it?
Oh, it's just a regular home. They've been there for their entire life. They bought it new, and they raised their children in that home, and now they're trying to build another home on a 4-acre lot in the neighboring state. I'm like, I'm going to help you with that too.
So that nice personal touch on the address only. And so you got that nice little color envelope, and you put Facebook home valuation request on it?
Yes, I do this. So I put this. I got a different color envelope. This is my brand color. I put inside my business card as well. And I highlight key points in the CMAs. And then that letter that goes in again with the statements on why, thank you for asking for your evaluation, and this is how it is. It's a range. I give them a range. I'd like to hear more. When is a good time for me to come and tell you more about, your home?
Awesome. And so for everybody, what she's talking about right now is something I think which would be similar to this. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is this the one you're talking about?
That's exactly it. I just plagiarized 100%.
Don't reinvent the wheel, right? If it's working, it's working. This works. Billy, I don't know if you're here, Billy, but Billy kind of took this from Donna Swansea initially, and made it his own, and just the small little personal touches, because if you create the format and just all you got to do is, occasionally change the name, the price point inside of it, right? And then a little tiny, little personal touch with a picture and maybe a fun little signature. That's all you would have to do. So you build the format, and then you kind of just, pick the time, and you probably could hire out something like this too.
And I customize it 3 ways. One is, because I see a lot of, in my market, I see a lot of formal rentals or formal Airbnbs. The owners they're trying to get rid of them because, they got hurt really badly in this COVID environment. So for those folks, I just add a little paragraph saying, and if you're interested in a cash buyer, I have one at the ready. So just give me a call. And if it's a more upscale home, I just put it on a nicer paper and things of that nature.
Billy, did you hear that? You want to unmute yourself there, buddy?
Yeah, I did.
So look at that. You started the trend, and now it's heating up here.
I think Donna Swansea started the trend.
Yeah, she did, but you brought it back.
Yes, and for the record, I did buy silver markers, and like a silver Sharpie on a dark paper sticks out. Everybody opens it. Everybody in the entire world will open that.
Ooh, I like that. Gold and silver. That's what we're talking about. Yeah, you'd have to find the right background for that. So there you go. I mean, so it's kind of fun to see, we dismiss these address onlys. And yet, I think we had someone on our demo the other day, Nicole Schmaltz, who used to be a client with ours and coming back. And she's like, I audited all my address onlys coming back after a year. And I found out that there was over, I think it was 40 to 60% of those ended up actually listing with somebody. So she felt like, oh man, just small strategy we forget about because we got so much going on. But even if we were figure out a way to scale this, or essentially hire it out at $10 an hour or something, right? I'm sure you could find some high school student that wants the money. you know. Like it's one of those things that if you're like, here's your job, all you got to do with all these addresses is write all over these envelopes, and you know, I'll tell you the price points or whatever. I don't know. You can figure it out.
How many of you have kids that you could put to work, right?
Yeah, or your own kids. There you go.
I can jump on that bandwagon too. I did kind of the same thing, and I'm like brand new. I've not sold a thing. I don't even know what I'm doing. I don't even know how to do CMA accurately, to be honest with you.
Perfect.
Love it.
I did that with my address onlys. So I went back. I did my trial about 3 months ago. I went back to all of those and I sent them a letter, address onlys and the others. And one of the address onlys, the same thing as, who was just talking? I don't know. The same
Billy?
thing. No,
Billy? Or
the girl.
Diana.
Diana, the same thing as Diana. I sent them a letter. I have a listing appointment with them. Haven't gone yet. Don't know what I'm doing when I get there, but I'll figure that out. But I was surprised that it worked, you know. And the other thing that I think, because I have 20 something years in marketing, I don't have one of my letters, but on the letter that I make it look like the map on StreetText, and I use the colors from StreetText so that visually they are seeing that. And then I'm Coldwell Banker, so we're blue and stars. So I add blue and stars so that it's kind of like both brands. And then what I think is a good tip is to do that, make it look nice and pretty, and then write a little personal note there, like, you know, by the way, your home is beautiful, or whatever, just some nice little compliment that draws them in to see that. And then I have little stickers. I don't use colored envelopes. I've ordered them. I don't have them yet. So I was using white. So I put stickers on the back so that they would see a sticker and that they would open it.
Just the personal touch. Yeah. I mean, and you just kind of build off the ideas from everybody else. And you're like, ooh, I like that. I'm going to take that, bring it into mine. Right. I mean, that's the key. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. There's a lot of cool ways to do this. That's why I tell everybody, stay inside the insider group as often as possible. You know, participate in the discussions, because you'll miss something if you don't get in there on the daily. You will, it really will. You might get lost.
I'm curious to know if anyone also cross-references those addresses to the tax record, so you can actually put their name, the owner's name, and everything else. Is everybody doing that as well?
Yes.
Yeah. I don't think I think like Diana said,
Find kids and stuff.
if they've given you a phone number or what they've given you, they just know they did something.
Just the address, yeah. So I verified even with HomeBot. I verify because I don't want to send the whole, here's how much you paid in interest and tra la la to someone who's just interested in the neighbor's house. If I can't correlate the email address with the name with the owners, I say, hey, you know, thank you for your interest. Here's the value. I send them just an email. I don't send them the HomeBot.
Gotcha.
That's interesting, because I was questioning that too. Like, you know, Kim Smith sends an email, and then you go to the tax record and it's like Joe and Tony and Matt who own the house, and it's like, who's Kim Smith? I'm not real sure what to do in that situation.
Ask the question. Jennifer, you said you're brand new?
Yeah, I got my license in February.
Okay, so just a suggestion, I would find somebody maybe on your first listing to go out to maybe partner up with you, just get the experience of piggybacking off of them and increasing your probability of converting them. Because to walk in there nervous, who knows what their situation is, and if they see you're brand new, they might go, we wish you luck, but they don't want to be the guinea pig. So coming in maybe with somebody who's been listing for a while, kind of piggybacking off them,
Let me step out of this.
helps you go ahead and just convert that. And then for the ones I get address only, when I look and it's someone else's name, or I just get a name that's not theirs, not knowing if they're a care provider or they could be a daughter and son-in-law or whatever, this and that, I usually sit there and say, hey, how you doing? This is the Amsterdam Premier House team. I see that you requested information on, and I still do the address. And I try to get them to engage back, because the last couple I've gotten like that have actually been someone caregiving, or like a daughter or someone who was taking care of their parents. And so it didn't run them off. It gave me the rest of the story, but you having the rest of the information really helps. Or it might be a nosy neighbor, and now you wind up pulling up the neighbor and, you know, get information on theirs. I just sent them a neighborhood screenshot straight out of the MLS. so I don't have to give them a whole bunch of stuff. I just go active pending, sold, expired, temp off market, last 90 days, and I'll get that to them and drop it on their door with the.
I think on the phone I can handle that, but Leon, what I don't know is, you know, if they haven't provided a phone number, if it's just an email, then I'm kind of like, thanks for requesting information on this address. And then I'm like, I have these vision. My sister's trying to steal my mom's business right now. So I have this vision of like people trying to steal people's houses, and I don't want to perpetuate that. So I don't know what to do when you can't have that dialogue with them.
Are you using BombBomb so you know when they open it?
I don't have BombBomb yet. I'm baby stepping it.
I feel like that helps.
Yeah, baby stepping it. Go truepeoplesearch.com.
I do that.
And look the name up,
What's
because I
that?
might
Say that
find a
again?
different address, and then take that address, and if it's
TruePeopleSearch.com.
door drop it.
I do that True People Search thing. That's addictive. You can really get sucked into that in your personal life. Like, ooh, let me look up this ex-boyfriend.
Okay.
Yeah, I like that True People Search. Yeah, because then you're right, you can see if they're related. It's a good idea.
When you're using BombBomb, consider, having your autoresponder, especially if you're using BombBomb and HomeBot and you're concerned with sending personal information to somebody it doesn't belong to and all that, considering your first autoresponder alluding to the fact that before I just, send you the HomeBot link, I am going to need a few pieces of information. So if you could answer the following and obviously get registered homeowners first and last name so that you can then confirm that with tax records. I mean, obviously a nosy neighbor could know that homeowner's first and last name still. That's a possibility, but it's less likely that they're going to have all the information unless they are somewhat, connected to that property. So I always like to make sure you ask, what is the registered homeowner's first and last name, along with a couple other key questions that you're going to need to feed that information into HomeBot, so that you're not sending, if you get 100 leads in a week, you're not sending 100 HomeBot reports, or you're not registering 100 people. You're only, fielding the people who've gone through some of the qualification processes as well.
Yeah, we're curious here. We had a discussion going on in the insider group, and I think Logan, you led it yesterday, about, other than HomeBot and BombBomb, what have people found are like the most, your favorite technologies or integrations that have been really helpful for you? Because I think it's great to kind of discuss this in this mastermind, knowing we always obviously discuss that part of it, but for people that are Canadians, maybe they obviously don't have access to HomeBot. What are some other technologies that you found is really helpful?
Your own MLS. I mean, I always tell you, don't chase every shiny new button. You have so much information packed in the MLS. You have your tax data, all that there. Not only do the people not know you, you don't know them. So when I pull a name up and I pull them in there, I'm looking, we have not only tax data, the last mortgage history. I want to know the habit of what I got. If these guys are turning around refinancing every time they get something in the mail, and you look at it, and I had this lady pull up, she bought a house in like 1984 for $64,000, and I pull her up, and she just refinanced a couple months ago, and now she owes $360,000 or $380,000 on the home, and you pencil it out and there's no equity. I'll still put her on a long-term drip because you never know what it is. But the conversation you have when you're dealing with people like that sometimes is just the fact that when they talk about, well, I'm not going to make much on my home, and you steer them back to the fact that, well, actually you've already been pulling equity out, and had you not already pulled that, you would have X amount of dollars. But I don't want to show up to a listing appointment or walk through and not have knowledge of the history of the people and go in there thinking, yeah, great listing, and then find out they're upside down and can't sell it, or there's no equity to take. So, everybody's time is worth money. And so I'll still send them something. But if you look at something like that, no, they can't sell the house, you have to protect your time because your time has value.
Yeah. Anyone else want to second that? MLS? What else? So we're just kind of bringing up technologies. You also had that Lincoln Navigator that you talked about, Leon, right?
Yeah, they said they were disabling that, but still, so LinkedIn itself, the thing is, when we're looking for people, sometimes we forget things, and so Google their name, just Google it and see what pulls up. But as far as still going into LinkedIn, what I like about that, most times people going in there, it's going to be a professional profile, a little more history of it. You get a better idea of who they are, and it's great to know they have a job still right now. So when you're in there looking to get an idea who it is, it really does help the conversation when you call them if you have an idea what they do, because if they drop something out there, you're already on speed rather than, you know, fumbling the ball. You're not worried about trying to catch up. You're already, you know, in and up to speed where you need to be.
100%. What would you guys consider? I mean, for everybody here, I'm sure everybody's testing out something, but we're trying to create this discovery moment, right? This opportunity to connect, dialogue. How have you found that working for you? Like, what's the best starting line on both the email side, or maybe should you pick up the phone and you have a phone number? What have you found are the best way to start to get them to talk?
You know, Marcus, I'll chime in on that. I got this from your mastermind. The first one I joined, you know, I had a really bad technique on my text messages that would just say, "Hey, is this Marcus?" with a question mark. And the first mastermind I came into, one of the guys that was on here, and I can't remember his name, but really got me to focus to change that first line. So now I text it's like, "Hey, Marcus, are we still on for 1 o'clock today? Just go ahead and confirm." And that actually validates some of those phone numbers a little bit faster than, "Hey, Marcus, is that you?" Because you might not respond because you don't know me. But if I say, "Hey, are we still on for 1 o'clock?" assuming an appointment call, I've been getting a lot better responses on those on the text messages.
So what if they say let's say they respond, what do you do from there?
Say, "Well, you had requested a home valuation. I wanted to make sure at 1 o'clock today. I had put in my notes at 1 o'clock that I'd be calling you. So I just want to make sure that, you know, we're good."
And
I've had 2 phone calls that they said, "Yeah, 1 o'clock works." And, "No, can you do 5 o'clock?" And then I call.
perfect.
So, yeah. And I've had a whole bunch. "No, this is not me. No, this is the wrong number," whatever else. And that's okay. But I'm getting more engagement than what I was getting, you know, because I was using the same line, you know, "Marcus, is this Marcus?" with a question mark. I've been using that for 8 years and changed it up after the first mastermind here. So
Now, who's analyzing their open rates on the autoresponders as well as on their personal follow-up? Are you guys analyzing and tracking the analytics? Are you guys making sure to, you know, track not only the opens, but the effectiveness of your messaging? And if you're getting actually interaction with it? I'm curious to see if anybody's kind of really diving into that realm.
I do that off the HomeBot, but I've started now with StreetText, and hey, thank God I'm finally unbanned from Marketplace. Facebook finally gave me my full freedom back. But the other thing, you know, we always say in an email you have a subject line. On the iPhone you have a subject line in text. So what I've been getting a better response with is I put their address in. I might say regarding, and I'll put their address, because when people look, it's like you're trying to catch that 10 seconds you got to get them. So I've got the subject line on inside my iPhone, and when the texts go out, or any of my texts go out, I make sure that it's there so that when a person glances over, you know, they know what you're, you know, inquiring about or what you're sending them about. And I've gotten better open rates because of that.
Like that one on the chat feature regarding RE 133 Glenridge, your Facebook home value, something like that.
Yep, because, you know, and that's perfect right there. Because when they look at that, they see the address, they're like, huh? Then you say Facebook home. So like you're always driving people back, Marcus, to where they began. So now you've identified the address. They go, "Oh, that's my address." Facebook, what the? And you know, the one thing a lot of people forget is just the fact that they didn't just come see us. If they've been online looking at a home thing, they've been through 10 other sites as well. So I had one of my other agents the other day. What I told her was, look, don't say a while back. Just say, "Hey, you were on our site looking at," because these guys have been on 50 sites. They don't even know when they were on your site last, unless you catch them on there right now. So never date yourself and making an old thing. Approach it like it's always new. So when you say, "Hey, you know, I'm just doing a quick follow-up. You're on our site looking at, you know, your house, da 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 da," and now you're, you know, or drag them into Facebook or whatever. But I guarantee if you send it out with Facebook and their address, you're going to get a higher open rate.
Yep. Open rate. So, and that's something to think about too, in terms of, you know, when you look at your typical autoresponder, the first one that goes out, have you guys kind of looked at that? I mean, what's your numbers? I think we all got to kind of look at that and figure out, well, am I getting opens? Is it 50%, 60%, 70%? Anybody have some numbers they'd like to share in terms of that initial open from StreetText? Have you analyzed that? Have you even looked into it? Have you been tracking in this
I
section.
haven't at all. I haven't at all, and I'd like to maybe I should start because I haven't been doing that at all. I noticed that my I couldn't track my BombBomb videos through BombBomb as to what the open rate was on that a little bit. But yeah, I'd love to learn more about tracking that.
Well, you've got if you go to your emails, right? The dashboard's been updated recently. So when you go to the settings section and you go to all your automations or all emails, and you click on there, you can see all the emails that are firing out. Now, as we know, the first one is the most important one because it kind of slowly goes down on open rates from there. So I would say make this the priority. And then when you click on that number to see what's being delivered, you can kind of see a trend. And number one, you want to make sure, okay, A, has it been delivered? But B, has it been opened? And, you know, probably there's a C for clicks too, right? So when you look at the open, that's number one. And then what I would want to also consider is if it's not being opened, I need to resend it from somewhere else. I need to resend it from my personal email. And obviously if you use BombBomb, I would consider resending it from BombBomb as well. Because
sorry, Marcus, where do you see that? I don't know where to look for it.
So you start in your dashboard in this little settings wheel up the very top, right? So you got your dashboard. When you log in, you're logging into your dashboard. Here's your dashboard, StreetText dashboard. Everybody, I'm assuming, has a dashboard. If you're here, if you don't, sign up for a trial. And then if you go to this little settings tool up there on the very top, right? Then you go down to the bottom where it says all emails, view a list of all emails in the funnels. And then it shows you all your emails. Now, I'm in Jessica McIntyre's account because I can highlight Wendy too if you're here because you do some cool things as well. But I really like what she's done here. So number one, you are going to want to track the deliverability, the opens, and so forth. And then when you actually view that email, like this is a perfect time to kind of analyze what she did right here. Number one, let's analyze the subject line. Receive your request from Facebook, capital Facebook, every letter, right? Facebook, it just really stands out. It highlights that they just clicked on that ad from Facebook and I'm on it. And then she did a little, she's got the little home emoji and she's also got the parentheses or personal video included, right? With a little video emoji. So there's a couple emojis. Now, I had a conversation yesterday and people were like, well, does that affect your opens? Does it go get lost? And maybe, I don't know. I mean, you have to track it. I think every email is different. She's using Oregon Real Estate with Jessica@gmail.com. That's her email sender. But when you look at the view body, it's cool because she's using the same subject line, just a little bit of a different take on it, but then the same body of email that we all have, but she's did a little bit of a twist to it. She says, just underneath the just let me know if I received your Facebook, or just want to let you know I received your Facebook request for the property valuation of, pulls in the address. As you know, the market is always changing and anything you can tell me about your home will help me give you a more accurate assessment to reflect the current market value. So there's a little tiny personal touch there. And I really like framing in, if you're using video, a little bit of context on top of the video and bottom. So if you put the video in and then you actually include some personal questions underneath that video, whatever that video is, as we discussed in the morning, Jessica's doing this one, but I was giving you guys an idea of if you're using BombBomb, consider the screen recording and start with the actual ad. It's the ad they clicked on as the image. That might be a good idea, right? Because we know with the screen recording, we do it personally and we use their own home, for example, to see if they'll click on it, because everybody likes to hear their name, as we've discussed, know their address in the subject line. That's why we just talked about that subject line for the personal touch. But in this case, why don't we showcase the ad as another idea? But what she's doing here too, at least I like with Jessica, is like, you don't even haven't opened this yet, but it's really like, it's inviting. She's smiling, her body language is saying it all. It just seems like I would want to click on this one. And then also, I really love that she's included some great questions. What do you love most about your home? Great question, right? It's not straight to the have you done any updates or renovations recently? We always ask that one, right? Everybody asks that one because but she makes it about them. What do you love most about your home? People love to talk about their home. Trust me, they love to talk about it, especially if they have a lot of pride in it. They've put sweat equity in it. They've done updates. So start what they love most. How long have they lived there was the second question. And then have you done any renovations or updates recently? That's the third. And in this case, she says, what would you consider the best feature of your home? Okay. Got the video, she's got her email signature. So again, you got to start analyzing all of this stuff because it is one thing that we always talk about it. It's like, let's get the split test and figure out how we can get the lowest cost leads. But why aren't you just as zealous over the process of getting a dialogue started and analyzing that part? Let's find the best opportunity to get as much dialogue as started given the first impression we set. Because if you're failing there, it's going to be a lot harder for you to get the conversation started afterwards. If you're failing in the automated email, that is you. That's your first impression. If you don't have anything in there, it's always going to be backpedaling to try to get it going. Where if you always created a process and an authentic, genuine autoresponder from the very beginning, now your whole goal is to get that person to see it. So even if it's not being open, you're going back to BombBomb or you're going back to your personal email and you're firing that out maybe with a slight different twist on it.
You know, I was actually even thinking about doing, and I had not done a very good job with, you know, follow-up letters and things like that. But I have gotten some responses to the autoresponder, which is really cool. I mean, somebody will send, you know, hey, this is what we've done to our home, yada, yada, yada. But the more I think about, you know, an actual also follow up with something that people can touch, read, see, feel, look at, you know, in their hands, I'm going to start doing that. But I'm also going to put a line in there saying, hey, just so you know, you have an email from me and I sent it to this email address. Check it out, but also check your spam filter because sometimes these end up in spam. So it's also another way to say, hey, you know, I'm doing my job by following up with you in a number of different ways. And sometimes you never know if a husband requests a value, the wife doesn't know it, or the wife requests it, he doesn't know it, they're not talking, but at least there's a way to make a connection with the something they get in the mail and then something they get in email. Does that make sense? I mean, it's another touch point.
I think it's powerful to like take a relationship that's online and make it tangible. Not a lot of people are doing that right now. So when you go out of your way to take a Facebook ad and turn it into a tangible, like I can touch it experience, you're bringing the relationship to another level. So I've seen people that have been doing mailers. We always say just address onlys. Well, why do we limit to just address onlys? Like, why don't we send something tangible to somebody who's not just an address only? Because then you're taking it from I met you on Facebook to this is an actual real person that sent me something that I can feel in my hands and I can message and have a conversation with them. That's so many people are used to a digital experience, and our whole goal is to meet people online and bring the relationship offline. That's our whole goal.
I love it.
And what I'm including with that, you know, the letter, the why sell now, and the other points we've been talking about. But at the end of the day, this is one shot to get in front of somebody. You know, just one shot, because they're talking to other agents as well. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't. But I'm just going to go ahead and test out, also including a pre-listing guide with a little bit about what the experience is that they'll receive working with me. Make it personal, not about, you know, I've been in business for 15 years, yada, yada, yada. It's more about the experience. And here are some things you're going to get, I'm going to do for you. It's like a 3-page pre-listing guide. I mean, at the end of the day, I might be throwing the kitchen sink at them, but I want me there first.
Deliver a video to them, Joe. Have the link and let them go in. Erica, I want to call you up because everybody's looking at your open rate, and you know what? That's like super high. So school us today, please.
That is high.
This is Ron. I've just signed up recently, and Ira's been very patient with me, but we finally started clicking. In fact, yesterday, I shut it down for a little bit so I could catch my breath and get caught up. But I've received about 40% just addresses. And so those people, I'm looking to see who the owner is and putting together a short package and mailing them Is there anybody else doing anything like that?
Oh, we did highlight that earlier.
Oh, I'm sorry. I had to come in late, so I
I'll
apologize.
send you the recording, Ron. We talked about it at the beginning. He's on it though.
Hey, we got some cool ideas. We'll get you that for sure. There's some
Thank
really
you.
cool opportunities there. You know, it's a generic headline. Not sure why it's so high. Maybe tell us, Erica, what your email provider is. Right? I think that has a lot to do with it. Like some people use Gmail. Definitely don't use Yahoo or Hotmail. I'll tell you that. Don't do it. You're not going to get good open rates. It's just so, yeah, tell us who your email provider is and if you've done anything in there, anything custom, email signatures, video, etc. If the open rate's so high, Bluehost provider, G Suite, email signature. Now the key is opens are great. Okay, we get opens, but what? So what? We get opens. What happens once the open? Is there anything that happens, right? Because opens like, oh, we got an open. But what happens? Did they get? Like I think the key is the holy grail of an autoresponder is an open, you know, some sort of interaction or play if you have a video in there, and ultimately, you know, you get a response in your email inbox. I mean, that's everything we're shooting for, right? So I'd really make that the true success of that autoresponder. It's not so much did I get an open and play. It's did I get an open play and a dialogue started, and even if I didn't, can I refer back to that? Because if I have SMS, if I have Julie, shouldn't I be referring back to that? You know, we often get caught in these systems and automations, and we think that they just are what they are. But why aren't you going there and maybe changing it, customizing it, maybe changing the time it's being sent out from 3 minutes to 6 minutes? You know what I mean? Maybe changing the second message, instead of saying just let me know if I can help, to hey, just want to make sure you received the email from Leon. He just wanted to make sure you got a chance to meet him. He just had a few quick questions about your home.
Marcus, can I chime in on something? Because gosh, man, I can't stress enough how much I learn every time I come to one of these masterminds. This open rate, I just want to go up to something, guys. One of the things that I do all the time with my expired packages is I always put a handwritten card with a $5 Starbucks gift card saying, let's share a cup of coffee and discuss how you don't miss an opportunity. I'm just looking at my open rates and then tracking all the way up to day 17 when I still have a 10%. I just downloaded everybody to see the consistency of who's actually opening it. And I can actually send those people a $5 Starbucks gift card, tell them, you know, let's share a cup of coffee and discuss how we could take advantage of this opportunity with the market right now. Just because I know how many of the same people have opened all 4 of my emails right now.
Yes.
So good God, man. I've missed a ton of opportunity already.
I love what you're saying. I mean, so think of it this way, because, okay, so yes, what are we doing with this data? Here's our, like, we have to make sure it's being open, and then ultimately you go back to the next autoresponder. Some people turn them off, some people don't, but the autoresponder day 3, the autoresponder day 10. So what are you doing to create an experience from the moment they get in there, right, to, in this case, if you look at day 3 with Jessica, she's got another experience there, right? Another experience. So if you're getting people that are interacting with this experience that you're putting out there, they're getting to know you. They're getting to know you in that experience. And then, like you just said, well, then what if they're actually getting day 10 and so forth? And you're actually, you're seeing the same people open it. And then ultimately you're also, don't forget, when you're seeing all these opens, we're highlighting that in your marketing interactions in your dashboard. So you're seeing these people who have these crazy killer numbers, like Marcus Willard here at 246. I'm just joking, because I use her all the time. But you know what I mean? Like when you get people highly interacting, this interaction score just means that they're the ones that are interacting with that. You need to acknowledge that and be more, use that as an opportunity, right? Use that as an opportunity to connect and check in and maybe do something like that. You know, let's do a virtual coffee, Starbucks on me.
Yeah.
I think that's next.
Yeah, like I said, I love learning something every time I come to one of these things. It's awesome.
So how many of you, I should be running a poll, but maybe you can let me know. How many of you have a video in your autoresponder? Number 1. Yeah.
Yeah.
And those who don't, why? Ultimately, like the way I got to frame it is this way. You're digital door knocking, okay? You are digital door knocking out there on Facebook. And so without some sort of personal interaction in that first impression you provide, it's as if you were door knocking and you doorbell ditched and left a letter on their doorstep and hope that they would interpret it exactly the way that you wanted them to. Because it's brand you are your brand. So and this lead is not going anywhere else. Like for some of you are like, oh, they're probably looking with other realtors and talking. No, actually they're not. They were on Facebook. They're not actively looking. You've gotten them at the earliest process in this stage, before they started going to Google, before they started going to any other website, right? Maybe now you're getting their mind thinking, but you're still the very first impression and you have that lead, and it's not going to anywhere else. It's not like if you don't get to them in 5 minutes, it's going to another agent. It's yours. So it's only as good as your ability to create an interaction with that person and create an experience. So that's where you kind of got to start thinking about it. You know, we often get so crazy with lead flow instead of just turning off that ad for a period of 3 days to a week and just really going into the process. And I think if you focused on making the process exactly the way you wanted it to go from the first email, what your personal follow-up's going to be, what you're going to be sending in the mail, maybe what your day 3 is, start there. Then you can rev up your ad budget again. But in the meantime, consider turning that off and making that a priority and focusing on your process, because it's not about just lead generation, especially if you can't really, if you're not doing any good interaction with those leads. There's just kind of, wow, okay, we can all generate leads. That's the easy part I find, especially if you're split testing properly. Now, every market's unique, every market's different. A split test in San Diego is going to be different than a split test in, Midwest. I had a gentleman in the Southern California area that said, hey, you're in a marketplace now where you just can't think $9 a day anymore. If you're going to effectively go out there and test the marketplace, and you're testing advertising against every advertiser out there, not just real estate, now you might have to up that, because your average home sale is not average in the United States. $9 a day might not suffice. So I put a little post out there that basically said, hey, try to shoot for an ad budget that would get you at least 1 email a day. And that's going to be different for everybody. There's no way I can tell you what that ad budget is. You got to test it. You got to split test it and find it. Because if you can get in front of 1 person a day, that's doing your job. That's 365 people a year that you can potentially get to meet. And then not to mention all your address onlys. Makes sense, guys? Any other shares?
I think the same goes for thinking about your market, and I saw Troy mentioned it in the comments there, thinking about how your market responds. I mean, we have the unique experience as coaches here, seeing all the different markets, and there's just certain courtesies in certain areas where if you message me, I respond to you, because that's just the courtesy that happens in that region or area. And there's other markets where, city markets where people are just busier and the response rate is lower, but it doesn't mean that they're not consuming the stuff higher. So sometimes you hear people on here, well, you're getting all these responses, but if you're in a certain geographical location, I necessitate those people that I'm talking to just respond, because it's just courtesy. You send me a message, I send you a message back. So we see it all the time in text messages. People will respond to Julie like crazy in certain markets. And in other markets, it's like crickets. But 7 to 8 exposures is what it's going to take to bring that person to the service. They only come to you when it's valuable to them, because they're just busy. They just got a lot of things going on. So if you're that agent that's always putting the value in front of them, when they're ready, then that's when they respond. So I think sometimes we take response rate too seriously, and it just stops us and makes us rethink too much, and then we just stop doing anything. We just need to stay consistent, knowing that we're not always going to get the responses in certain markets, and those people, when it's valuable to them, are going to come back and respond to you, as long as you just keep up with that follow-up.
I like that. And you also got to remember that you can't be too aggressive, right? the problem with a lot of us is that we come from backgrounds where we're used to different type of lead generation, and then we get into Facebook and Instagram, and we kind of bring that same mentality. Where people are on Facebook are usually, you know, you always kind of want to start with, I'm sure you were just curious, right? And because you got to imagine they're all just curious. They're all just curious. Whether or not they actually want to sell immediately or not is up to them to tell you that. But if you start assuming that they're ready to sell and using language that would make them feel like you're just trying to sell their house, they're going to be out of there. They're not going to even give you a second. So I think it's really important to kind of consider when you're framing the experience from the very get-go, and kind of helping them see what they just did, right? Because you got to remember, they were just all randomly on Facebook, scrolling down their feed. They saw the ad, if someone were to buy your home, would you sell it? Find its value in the current market. So that first impression you provide in the inbox should be all about resetting that tone of what they just did. And that's where I want you to kind of consider, like, you can put that image in front of them, you can show them what they just did, and kind of really help to highlight that the internet's best guess, it's going to be all over the place. You can even include in that little area, hey, you know, there is a lot of internet's best guess out there. You can go to Zillow, Trulia, Realtor, we have something called HomeBot, whatever it is, but I want to give you an accurate assessment. The times have changed, the economy has shifted, you know, with COVID, you could do that type of thing while you're painting the picture of what they just went through and create a dialogue behind it.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
So I don't particularly have a high dollar amount that I'm spending on the ads. I have like 2 ads that are running. One is the generic with the map, want to know your home's value. I think I put $7 a day on that one. And the other one is a pretty house that says, the one that says like experts are saying your value is increasing. And I have that one even lower. Like since last night at 10 p.m. when I caught up on all my ads to right now, I have 9 sitting in my kitty waiting for me to do something with it. I think that's a lot.
Mm.
So, and that's great. I mean, I'm not complaining about that. But I'm wondering if you all, because you're way more senior at this than me, do you find that using ads that aren't so just find out your home's value? Because a lot of people really are just like, I just bought my house. I just want to know, I just want a reinforcement that I bought a good house and my value is rising, or, you know, I've had my house for 30 years. I just want to know the value, and they're not really in the market to sell their house. Like, have y'all found a way that I'm not seeing to like kind of filter some of those people out? Or, I mean, I get it. We're casting a wide net and then bringing them in and grooming them. But is there something that I'm missing that I could do more effectively as far as, kind of lost my question, haven't I? As far as
Jennifer,
so generic?
Yeah, I would say the thing that's missing is you, in the sense of like
the videos.
Well, yeah, because they're not meeting you. There's no experience there. There's nothing from wanting them to give that information to you. You're in their mindset, you're just
another agent.
Well, and who's to say what kind? I don't know you. I don't see you. I have no experience with you. Body language. There's no trust established.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing there to kind of make this humanized. So
Gotcha.
It's always for someone, this is the most important asset of their life. This is the most important financial decision of their life for most of us. So it's like, I need to find someone that not only that I'd like, but that I can trust. And so that's why you need to create that experience in the beginning, because they're going to be so standoffish, or they're either going to ghost you, they're not going to interact with you. They're not going to, you know, even if you have a great script and clever questions to ask, it's still nothing compared to the personal side of this. So
I gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Jennifer, don't filter anyone out. If they're really the actual homeowner, and you're able to verify that, whether through email, through letter, through telephone call, whatever, you never know. People, even if they're just curious, I think filtering them out is you want to develop that relationship, because things change in people's lives all the time, and they may not be ready to sell now, but you never know. They could be 6 months down the road, and then they have maybe kids who live in another state, and they have Now they're having grandchildren. They're going to move there to that state, or you never know their situation, or there's a death in the family, or whatever the case may be. Things always change in people's lives constantly.
Right.
And they could have maybe a 5-year plan, but now it turned into a 6-month plan or a 2-year plan. And you just never know. So if you stay up, again, it's follow up, but you stay with them and just, do drips, reach out every now and then, whatever the case may be. As long as you can stay in front of them, when it comes that time, you're going to more than likely be the first call that they make. So I never filter anyone out. I don't care if they're just curious, just looking. I'm refinancing my home. I'm doing a kitchen remodel. Those are some of the people that I'm staying in front of. But
I mean, I'm super nice to those people when they're like, I just want to refinance. I'll send them like, finance sources, even though there's nothing in it for me, but I think maybe down the pike. And I do keep them, put them in my Cobalt Banker Zap thing that we have.
Hey, Jennifer,
Message later.
and I'm gonna piggyback off of what Kevin was just saying. So look, the nature of Facebook altogether is connecting people for a long time from past and present, right? So imagine all of these people that are thinking about refinancing and having maybe an opportunity to take that money to refinance or cash out of their house to buy an investment property or something like that. Or imagine, like when you're saying kind of stay in touch with them, imagine your friends from back in high school that just found you on Facebook. If they were to give you a referral right now, you'd be ecstatic. You kind of want to just
I had that happen. It was great.
Yeah, you just want to stay top of mind. So you just want to be able to have a seat at the dinner table when it's time to have dinner. That's all. You want them to invite you to have a seat when it's time to have dinner. You're not working Facebook to say, you're the one for me, come over right now. Let's say it's just about know, like, trust, build that relationship virtually so that you'll have the opportunity to meet them and then really showcase who you are. And the more people you know, look, you add 10, 15 people to your database every day. At the end of the year, you've got 5,000 new people in your database. And if you do 1/10 of 1%, that's another 5 transactions. So that's how you got to really look at it. Nurture everybody and go through. Put it automated and make it go.
Hey, Melissa, do you want to unmute yourself and tell us about that chat?
And I just want to jump on this and add something too. It's like that's a really, really good point. What you guys are making. It's every person that has requested a home value is interested in the market, and think about that for a second. They're interested in the market. They want to know the value of property. So whether or not they're even the homeowner, they're interested in the value of property, which means they're in the market. At some point or other, they are going to buy or sell a home. They're watching, they're looking. But there's another part of this, which is really key, is that they're interested in the market, which means they're the perfect person to follow you because you can teach them about the market. You can keep them up to date. I want to show just real quick. Here's, let's see how I share this. Marcus. Oh, yeah, here I can do it. So this is an email I've got from Ryan Peterson. He sends this every month. I don't know if you can see this.
Yep.
It's just in this case, it's the June real estate report. And he just sends it to me. And then what I love about it is he includes a link to a YouTube video of a quick 5-minute video, just kind of sharing the monthly report of the market. And he gets some information, some stats, and he's very consistent with this. And I think what is so powerful about this kind of thing is he's got an audience of people who are interested in the market, and he's not excluding anybody, but it's not that hard for him to record a quick 5-minute video on the market, but he's the expert, and he's remaining the expert, and he's staying the expert every single time he's in there. So I just think that's such a key point of he's doing something really simple. It's really good, but remember, everybody who's requesting information they're interested in the market.
Yeah, one other quick comment. I did a CMA, a video CMA, and Marcus is going to cringe right now because it was a 9-minute long CMA, and they loved it. Actually, they replied back. They said, Kevin, great job on this. This was very, very interesting, and you're spot on. I had their value right off the bat, and all they're going to do is they're looking to possible refinance or do a kitchen remodel for their home. And I said, great, why don't you send me the pictures of your home, and then I can give you some feedback on that. And so they did. They sent me all the photos of their home. I said, okay, what you need to do here is the bathrooms are Art Deco. The home is a Spanish adobe built in 1929. I said, what you need to do here is you need to tie your kitchen in with what you already have going on. And then I sent them examples of what I would think would give them the highest and best value if they did their kitchen this way. And do you not think they're going to open now from here on out? They let me virtually in their own home. They sent me all their photos, including dog photos, all of that. Do you not think when I reply back or when I send them another email or an update that they're not going to open it? I just have that huge, even though it's been virtual, I just developed that relationship and I'm in the door. Period.
I love it. That's what it comes down to. And now don't forget to go find them on Facebook and be friends. Right? Because that's the connection. Once you create the connection, now there's no excuse. Like, that's why I want everybody to consider, like, have faith to make the connection early on in the process. If you try to make sure you friend request every single person that comes in, because you want that connection as early as possible. You want them to see you as someone who is relatable, and that connection reinforced by the BombBomb video, of course. So when you create all these touch points, email, Facebook, mailers, right? You never know which one's going to resonate with them. It could be like, you could just friend request them. They look at your profile, they see your kids or something that you represent, and they just love that part. And that's what opened it up. It was nothing about your video. It was nothing about the mailer. It was just something that they connected with on your personal Facebook. And if you're not putting that out there, you're not, most of these people actually become your friends anyway. So why not initiate that, create the experience, and then start using things like screen recording to show them where that experience is, especially if you friend request them, where the messages that you left in their folder. And always, 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 if you're using video and email, use video on Messenger. Use video everywhere. If you're using text messaging, if you're using video now, send a BombBomb video. Or if you have iMessage, send a video message. Video, video, video everywhere. Everywhere. Because that's you, that's your brand, that's your personality, that's the authentic connection. If you don't get that, you're gonna probably ask yourself why your conversion rate's so low, and that's gonna be part of it.
One thing I just want to quickly add on to what Kevin was saying as well is that, the people who are just embarking on a kitchen renovation, are they selling tomorrow? I guarantee you they're not, right? But establishing himself as just a friendly face who's there to help and give his time and energy and, like he said, get his foot in the door. Let's say that they're not selling that home for 5 years from now, right? In 5 years, is he going to get the listing? Hopefully, if he stays in touch, of course. But who do homeowners know? Homeowners know other homeowners, right? So if that homeowner has a discussion with somebody else who's talking about their home, about to expire, and my agent is this and that and the other thing, who's going to get referred? Right? So, their friends, their family, anybody who they run into from this point forward, at least for the next year or so, hey, I had this great experience with this realtor, right? It's so easy to just establish yourself as a friendly face who's there to help people. And that is the key. As soon as you are viewed as somebody selling them something, you've lost them, in my opinion. As soon as you're selling yourself as in, I'm here to help you, no matter what you're looking to accomplish, you've gained their trust, you've earned that respect, and you have a much better opportunity to solidify that relationship. Good job.
Hey, Logan, that's a great point. One of the things that I put in my message, both on video and in the email body, is that, I'm happy to help in any capacity and be a resource for you with whatever information you're looking for at any time. If you have any questions regarding anything regarding real estate or the transactions within real estate for any reason, you can always feel free to call me, regardless whether you want to buy, sell, rent, or anything else. If you just have questions, I'm there for you.
I love it. I also, it's no different from Logan or Troy or Ira and I when we're trying to initiate a relationship with you guys the first time you come into StreetText, right? We're in the same type of relationship style of interaction. So I find, and I don't know about you guys, but I find when I create a relationship early on Facebook, I'm more likely to have the opportunity to show the value of StreetText. And that's no different if I have video and so forth. If I can get the Zoom meeting, if I can get the one-on-one, now the value can be shown. But if you don't get that interaction at some place, somewhere, it's always going to be a hard place for you. So you got to always figure, where can I get that interaction? Is it going to be on Facebook? Is it going to be through video, email? Is it going to be on, you got to be willing to go a little bit further. you can't think it's just the automation or your personal email follow-up, or you send a text message or make the call and they leave a voicemail and nothing was there. It's still not personal. It's still not personal until you get an interaction. And so make sure that everything you do is all about how to get you in front of them, your personality, your body language, your tonality, that authentic you, looking to help serve them with the best information possible. And if you make that your priority, I guarantee you're going to see results. You will, and you're going to find the right people like you. And some people are going to be a little bit more closed off in the beginning, but eventually they'll continue to likely. And Wendy is a perfect example of it. I don't know if she's had to go, but we can highlight that next week for sure.
I'm gonna throw one quick one out there for people that are using BombBomb, and we don't think about this. We always sit there and say documentation is key. Always having a paper trail is important. One of the things I do, if I'm sitting in front of a desktop or whatever, or even using your phone, if you send something out using BombBomb, whether it's a text or email, you know that from that point forward, you can track the opens. So what I make it a point to do is I always try to respond back to a person in that string, because if you're out on the road and you just do a quick response to the text, since it's in that string, BombBomb will let you know they opened it. So now you're still able to track the activity of people. Sometimes we sit there and don't think about it, and we start a new one or we send something out. And if you're really tracking your people, you've already set it up, you're using it, so stick with the string, and that way you can track your opens, and it does help.
Yeah. All right, guys. I mean, there's a lot here. We discussed a lot today. So like always, thanks for being here. We recommend just take this content right now and start working with it. And then hold yourself accountable by posting something in the discussion group of the Insider group, right? Tell us what you're going to do, what you're going to take away from here. This way, come next week, we'll have some great discussions about it, because there's so much. There's the mailers we talked about, the autoresponders we talked about. I think if you think about it this way, and I was trying to highlight Jessica, is that if you have a video autoresponder, analyze it, make sure it's getting open and interacted with. Think about your personal follow-up again, and create that process so that you can now move to day 3 and put something in there that's more personal. And if your mail is going out at the same time and you're intentional about creating a relationship and you're using everything you got, naturally, and especially for you HomeBot guys, if you're using HomeBot's going to naturally stay in touch. And my recommendation for you with the HomeBot side of this too is don't overwhelm them with everything in that HomeBot on the first go. Start with just the tune my value. Don't go into Airbnb and your equity and your mortgage information and all this stuff. That's way too much off the get-go. All they're looking for is a home value. Show them how they can get that home value and how to tune it. And that's it. Keep it short, keep it simple. Well, in your case, it worked, right? But like, you're going to spend a lot of time. So we're always thinking about how can we work smarter, not harder. Smarter, not harder. Right. And so I think it's a combination of all these elements, but just bring in your personal touch and you're going to start seeing some great results.
You just tell them that there's a lot of great features in there. Take a look at it, and if they have any questions, and then you can always send out the video like a couple other people made explaining some of the stuff in there. But yeah, I just overwhelming them out the gate. They're really thinking of a lot of other things other than that.
Well, Leon, here's my thought on that. If you start with telling them about all the great features, and then you start thinking about all those features, and then you dissect them into the order of the email drip campaign that you want to send them out in, you can highlight a feature in every drip that comes out. Right? So the first one's the tune my value. The second one maybe is more about their mortgage and equity. Maybe eventually down the line, like it's the Airbnb part. And then you come full circle again and like, hey, the market has changed. Do you want to update your home value? Do you want to tune the value? Here's how you do it.
Yeah, and with the new Zapier with HomeBot, guys, you might even be able to do a automatic response once they log back in, because they're getting that report every month, right? So if you see them log me in multiple times, you can set up an automated response through their Zapier to go back to them again and touch base with them again.
And we don't care if that home value is way off. Like the whole point of it is let it be off. That's why you want it tuned, right? I think all of you, I heard a lot of the discussion in the group, well, it's so off. I'm like, perfect. This is why they need you. You want it, like you want it to be off. Let me show one thing. If you guys don't remember, the listing appointment or in the StreetText Academy is that script that got Jessica 5 listing appointments in 1 week. The whole point of personally following up with a wide open value is so that it encourages them to interact, because no one wants to know if their home is anywhere between 250 to 300. That's a big discrepancy. They want an accurate home value. So when you go out to tell them what their home is actually worth, leave it as wide open as possible, because you want them to tune that value and you want to show them how to tune that value. So kind of consider that it's not about you spending a lot of time producing CMAs and home values. It's about leaving it as generic as possible so it incentivizes them to want to connect with you to get that accurate report. Cool?
Yes, sir.
Anyone ever wants to talk about the buyer side, it's the same thing. If we're talking about buyer leads, same thing. You don't just give them this huge list of properties. You always go for like, well, what is it about that property that you really are looking for? Is there certain amenities, certain neighborhoods, right? Go for like, what's their dream home? What are they looking for? What's the perfect property? Let's narrow down this list. The list is what gets them in. The call to action is what gets them in, but then you have to actually go in there and actually find them what they're looking for. And so that's where you need to have a personal follow-up that's asking the right questions so they can tell you what the ideal property is that they're looking for. And now it becomes an interaction.
Biggest thing with the buyer leads is just get them looking in your site. I don't set them up for automatic subscription because I always say if they unsubscribe, once you lose them, it's hard to get them back. I've got the, my website is tied into HomeBot and all the buyer leads are in there. So they're able to, and I took away the forced registration because I figured they're in my database anyway. So they're able to get that monthly report, and I've got a increased numbers of people that have came over from the buyer side that just go in and look, and then my system notifies me that they're in there. So if I see where they're notice they're looking at something 3 or 4 times, just no matter where I'm at, I just take my phone app that's straight out of the MLS. I've got HomeBot, not HomeBot, but HomeSnap and HomeSpotter, and I just send it to them right out of my phone. And now what that makes them do is they inadvertently wind up downloading the app, and I'm able to track their activity. And now that I've got them away from Zillow, Chewy, and all the other ones just working off my site, I have a better conversion rate and better ability to be able to get the homes to them and get them in a home to see it.
Love it. Here's another thing to think about too. And I don't know how many of you are doing this. When you are friend requesting somebody, make sure you're dropping them to lists. Because if you friend request them and drop them to a list, even if they don't accept that friend request, they stay in that list, number one, right? And those lists will grow and they will diversify, and you will find there are so many different scenarios and buckets that you can pull them in or cross them over. They can be in multiple lists, but you're going to start seeing with all these people, some are address onlys, some are just curious, some you send a report to that said thank you. You're going to have that as a separate category for people that actually responded or you create dialogue with. Some people said contact me in 3 months, so you're going to have that list, right? If you don't have your management system properly done, like start making and creating ones, starting with Facebook. That's something to think about, Jennifer, for you, because you're looking for personal connections and it's young. I mean, and you're early on in the real estate career. So work with what, Leon calls the free 99 tool. Free 99, there's a lot of free 99s out there. You don't always have to think about these systems. I think we overthink these things. It's the personal touch, and Facebook is where they got started. Facebook is where you should continue. Personally, they found you on Facebook in their personal newsfeed. Your business.
Don't outsmart yourself.
Yeah, your business page was you spent money through Facebook. Your business page is the vehicle to get in front of their personal newsfeed. So full circle, it just common sense to create a personal connection there. Because you're going to be somebody they interact with, and it's not a business. It's always in this. It's a relationship business. You got to consider how to merge the two. All right, we're over. Good stuff today, guys. If you have anything that you want to take from here, or we can bring into next week's mastermind, just post it in the group, and we can elaborate on any subject that you want to focus on. Just let us know. Post it in the insider group. And as always, thank you for coming.
Hey, Marcus, can you just share that link for the letter, or a copy of that letter that we went over earlier in the mastermind for the Facebook letter with the colored envelopes? Do we have?
Yeah,
one?
so I did. So if you go straight to the insider group and click on the announcements, it's right in there. So go to the insider group, click on announcements. All the most relevant posts I try to pin inside the announcement section.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Hey Marcus, where is that? And I'm new to this. Where is that insider group?
Insider groups on Facebook. So
Okay.
all you got to do is make sure that your coach, you know, send them a message on Facebook and say, hey, get me in the insider group. Because if you're not in it, you're missing out. And then the section in the insider group, there's a section, it just says announcements, and you can go straight there to see all the, I think, the most relevant posts.
Hey, one more thing. I just want to give a shout out to one of your users, Marcus, Jennifer Salter.
Yeah.
She is a rock star, guys. Look her up on Facebook. She did an amazing template email that goes out regards to values and everything else. And she's so natural, so good. I mean, if you're worried about video, I mean, just watch hers and let the template do the talking for you. She did an amazing job, and she's been super helpful. Like, she even did another video for all the StreetText users of exactly how she made her template and everything else. So take a look at her. It was rock star stuff.
And guess where that is? In the announcement section.
Yeah. Thank you.
I have a quick question.
Sure.
Marcus, when are you going to do another of your Facebook and how to put everybody organized and how you're utilizing Facebook?
Let's do it tomorrow in the conversion course workshop. Calendly/StreetText is all our classes and workshops. Calendly/StreetText. Today, in about 45 minutes, we have a lab coat agent event for anybody. You're welcome to come as well. I don't assume that you guys are just going to sit in front of your computer all day, but it's at 11 o'clock, starting in 45 minutes. So I'll post that link on Facebook as well.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.